There's a famous line by Nietzsche that goes something like, "You yourself will always be the worst enemy you can encounter." But honestly, you don't need to be a philosopher to see this in real life. Hey guys, I want to talk about this idea where we sometimes end up being our worst enemies, whether we like it or not. I know it sounds a bit dramatic, but it is true. Whether it's fear of failure, fear of letting people down, or just general self-doubt, most of the time, we are the ones holding ourselves back. I see it all the time in my family, even in my own circle of friends. And it's especially important for us Muslims to understand. Why? Because our faith has so many teachings on self-purification and methods to realign our hearts and minds. Let me share a quick story with you guys to help put this idea into perspective. Picture a young guy named Muhammad. He's 20 years old and he loves cooking, especially fast food. He dreams that one day he gets to open his own restaurant, or even better, maybe start his own fast food chain. But guess what? His parents want him to become an engineer. This is the classic, the child wants to be one thing, but the parents want him to be something else scenario. They say engineering is stable, it's well respected, and you won't be struggling financially, so why even bother with fast food? Which makes sense, to be honest. Now Muhammad feels torn. On the one hand, he has this passion for cooking. He literally lights up when he's in the kitchen. And on the other hand, he's afraid of disappointing his parents, maybe even losing their respect. And on top of all that, he wonders, what if nobody shows up at my restaurant? What if I fail and go broke and the business does not work out? Self-doubt. So one night, he's at his uncle's restaurant after closing. His uncle is a successful restaurant owner. He's been in the business for years and he knows his stuff. The place is quiet, the tables are cleared, and Muhammad finally musters up enough courage to spill his worries to his uncle. He's like, what do? I feel stuck. I need some assistance. His uncle looks at him and goes, you're your worst enemy right now. Here Muhammad is confused, right? Because he thinks his biggest problem is his parents pressuring him, or maybe the risk of financial failure. But the uncle points out that sure, mom and dad might have opinions, but the fear Muhammad feels is coming from inside him. It's how he's thinking about the situation. And from an Islamic perspective, we're taught to always watch our hearts. Tazkiyah, or self-purification, is about cleaning up what's on the inside. Part of that is realizing that our own desires, doubts, and insecurities can trip us up more than external obstacles. So the uncle breaks down Muhammad's fears, thoughts, and his desires in a very simple way. He points out that Muhammad's fear is the possibility of failure or losing his parents' respect. Muhammad's constantly thinking that he needs his parents' approval, and if he doesn't have it, then he's doomed. And Muhammad's desires, which is that he wants his parents to be proud of him and he wants to succeed financially without any risk. After the uncle clearly lays it all out for Muhammad, he says, look, if your desire to please everyone suddenly vanished, then your thoughts about needing their approval would calm down. And if those thoughts calm down, then your fear would also calm down. Suddenly, you wouldn't be blocking yourself anymore. Muhammad asks, so do I just drop my desires? But that's a bit tricky, right? Because wanting to drop a desire is also a desire. That's where identity reprogramming comes in. It's not about forcing yourself to stop wanting something. It's about understanding things differently so that the unhealthy desires fade on their own. His uncle starts pointing out the reality to Muhammad. People always need good food. If Muhammad offers great quality and service, then customers will pay. There is demand for what he loves doing. Respect isn't one size fits all. If you're chasing external validation, then most probably you don't even respect yourself. But if you do what aligns with your identity or with what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has gifted you with, then naturally you'll start drawing out the people who respect you for who you are. That little shift in perspective helped Muhammad see that he's not trapped at all. He can still open his restaurant. The fear was coming from his own mind, and once he realized that success is possible because people do like fast food, and that real respect starts by respecting yourself, he was like, so what's stopping me? And his uncle said, absolutely nothing. That's the big lesson here. We often think our environment or other people's judgments are the big problem. But half the time, we've basically internalized these fears and blown them up in our heads. In Islam, Tazkiyah teaches us to purify our hearts from these negative influences, like the fear of people over the fear of Allah, or constantly seeking approval. When we reprogram our identity to see ourselves as active, capable servants of Allah, we naturally move to a place of confidence and sincerity instead of a place of fear and doubt. So if you ever feel stuck, just like Muhammad did, then remember that most or a lot of that stuckness is coming from within. It's all in your head, man. You can't always just drop your desires overnight, but you can definitely start viewing the world from a different perspective. When your understanding shifts, your fears start dissolving because the foundation in which they stemmed from has changed. And once your fears aren't running the show, you'll be free to chase what truly resonates with you, whether that's building a fast food empire, studying engineering, or something else entirely. We are our own worst enemies, sure, but that also means that we have the power to be our own saviors. It all starts with a little bit of introspection, a bit of hard work, and a whole lot of faith in the one who gave us these talents in the first place. And after watching this video, if you ever find yourself struggling to start this journey alone, then come check us out on School. We have a free community catered towards Muslims that is all about reaching our maximum potential through proven methods from some of the most successful people in the world, and more importantly, with teachings and practices from our own religion. And if you're a non-Muslim, you're also more than welcome to join our community, because why not bestow this knowledge of self-improvement to you guys as well. And by the way, this course also applies to myself and Muhammad, my partner in the community, because we are also trying to improve ourselves day in and day out. Anyways, Allah knows best about everything that I just said. I'll catch you guys in the next video.